Titans were back at practice today, and it was a tension-filled practice with two players getting into it that you probably wouldn't want to hear getting into. Welcome to Titans Today by Chat Sports. I am your host, Brett Alper, and before we break down everything you need to know about what happened at practice today, even if it's a small hire, a little hire, a baby hire, it doesn't matter. We got you covered here on the channel. They signed defensive tackle TJ Smith. It's nobody very important to really go in depth about. Not going to talk about his stats. He's a veteran. He's played in the NFL before, but I do not expect him to be on this roster come to the cut down for the 53-man because T'Vondre Sweat he wasn't at practice. So they need an extra body. They signed him to the roster. They also, of course, probably made a waiver if you go look at the waiver wire, but he is not going to be on this team, but don't expect it. But you still have your two best players, T'Vondre Sweat and, of course, Jeffery Simmons as your top defensive tackles. We're 20 days away, people, just 3 weeks from the first NFL Sunday before we see the Tennessee Titans take on the Denver Broncos. And if you're ready, like I'm ready, go and hit that thumbs up icon. So let's talk about just the main storyline that happened at practice today. The tensions They rise because Jeffery Simmons and Cam Ward got into it at practice. It was almost a fight, but thankfully it was broken up. This comes from Easton Freeze, who was at practice, detailed the whole entire thing. It was a red zone drill. Ward hit Calvin Ridley for a really nice corner touchdown. The offense was pretty hype, and Ward went up and gave Simmons a shove in the back and then hit him with his limp zombie celebration. You guys know what it is. You've seen it so many times before. Simmons then gave Ward a hard shove back. The all offense, of course, took an issue with that. It resulted in a quick scrum, and Simmons left the drill. Otherwise, practice was practice. And, of course, the offense was talking the whole entire day to Jeffery Simmons. We saw J.C. Lathan talking to him. We saw Cam Ward doing this before. They have a big tension. They like to talk trash to each other. But that's just what good teammates do. They want to get each other riled up. And this is what Jarvis Brownlee Jr. had to say about the two getting into it after practice. It's a long quote, but I'll read it for you guys. You never want to see a quarterback in the middle of those types of things, but when it does happen, it just shows you the level of dog he got in him. It ain't going to take nothing. It shows you how much he cares about the offense, how much he cares about winning. That goes for both sides of the ball with Jeff and him. You get that same attitude, that same confidence, that same edge in each and every day out of those two guys. But when it does happen to our quarterback, we try to break it up as soon as possible, fix it as soon as possible. But for me, I feel like it's a great thing. Brothers fight. And I could say the same thing. You ever fought with your best friend? Of course you fought with your best friend because that's what happens. And at the end of the day, as long as we've got each other's backs, we're all connected. We all got that bond, and we got the same connection where we're going to fight for one another, and that's the most important thing of the day. And Producer Moose, I do have a picture for you, just kind of what we have. And it was just to prove that everything was kind of just all fine and dandy. And it's a picture of Jeffery Simmons and Cam Ward kind of just together and fishing. This is what they are. They have chemistry. They're going to talk mess to each other. I talk trash to my best friend on whatever we do. I like to talk my shit. And, of course, those two probably are going to talk their shit. But kind of Simmons broke the unwritten rule, but Cam Ward asked for it. And you broke the unwritten rule, which was you don't touch the quarterback. And, yeah, you don't touch the quarterback. And unfortunately, he did touch the quarterback. But then Cam Ward asked for it. You celebrating in his face? It happens. It happens. They're going to be talking mess to each other. That's okay. It's completely absolute nothing burger for what it is. And I'm going to say that, yeah, they probably talked it out right after practice. There was Paul Kaharski talking about if he has a problem with him, he has to come and say it because he didn't speak to the media. These two guys are friends. They're battling it out with each other. It's okay. It's completely okay to have a fight with your teammate. They broke it up. Everything's calm. We'll see tomorrow at practice if they're going to be good. But if they keep talking, well, then you might have a story about that. But I'll ask you guys, if the Ward-Simmons fight is a nothing burger, and do we even want to call it a fight? He pushed him. It was a scuffle. They got out of the way. When does a scuffle go to a brouhaha to a fight? I don't know. But go down in the comments section. Is Ward and Simmons fight nothing burger? Type Y for yes or type N for no. We'll break down what happened at the rest of practice, but I am happy to welcome back the sponsor of today's show, and that is Prize Picks. Preseason football is underway and college football is here, so don't miss any of the action this season on Prize Picks. Prize Picks is simple to play. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you can cash in and win up to 2,000 times your money. I've been using Prize Picks since before I even got hired by Chat Sports, and I'm so glad they are a sponsor. Prize Picks is the best way to win real money this football season. Which players are going off? Which ones aren't? Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports opinions into real money all season long on Prize Picks. And there is football tonight. There's also week 0 of the college football season, and I made a lineup. Chase Brown, the more on receiving yards, 8.5. Sam Hartman, the less on passing yards, 85.5. And Avery Johnson, a free square, 0.5 yards, the more on that one. You can make a lineup just like that using Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. The link will be in the comments and description of today's video. Prize Picks. Run your game. All right, let's get back to talking about practice. And there was a good positive thing. I know there was a fight, but there's a key piece of this offensive line that is now back on the Tennessee Titans rotation. It's Lloyd Cushenberry. He's back on the practice field. He did not practice a ton, but he was still getting out there. He was recovering from an Achilles injury the past couple of months, not days. You don't come back from Achilles after a couple months. What am I thinking? But your starting 5 offensive line is all at practice. Dan Moore Jr., he got rolled up on a little bit during the game on Friday against the Falcons. He limped off the field, but he was back at practice. He's good. Peter Skronsky is back. Lloyd Cushenberry, Kevin Zeitler, and J.C. Latham. And I just want to talk about Dan Moore Jr. as you gave him a ton of money, and now he's your starting left tackle, like 58.7 PFF grade in the preseason. I mean, that's not like outstanding. It's not great, but it's not bad. You could have someone that is in the 40s or the 30s, and it could be bad. But Dan Moore Jr., overall, I think he's getting a lot more chemistry with this team, and you're going to see that contract is going to work itself out because you got to protect Cam Ward. You have to protect Cam Ward on this team. Now we're going to stick with the offense, and Gunnar Helm, he keeps making plays and plays and plays in preseason and also at practice. And I kind of thought, yeah, he broke out in the preseason game against the Falcons. Overall, he's got 5 catches, 64 yards, 12.8 yards per catch, a touchdown, and you can see that picture in the background right there. That was the catch of the entire preseason for the Titans so far in double coverage. I truly think that he is going to be probably is it crazy to say that he could be the starting tight end going into week 1? I don't know. I like Chig. I love Chigakonkwo, but you see the true raw talent with Gunnar Helm, and I feel like that he's going to get better and better and better as the season goes on and as he develops more into that tight end spot. Also, 12 personnel, you're going to see that a lot. Next one on defense, cornerback room, it's just wide open. L'Jarius Sneed, still out. Don't know when he's coming back. And the third starter is still open because you have Roger McCreary. You have Jarvis Brownlee Jr. But who is going to be that third guy? And it's between pretty much Darrell Baker and Kendall Brooks. You saw Brooks get the pick 6 on Friday. He's gotten a little spot up, but he was in a non-contact jersey today. He was in the yellow jersey. He did not want to get hit. Brownlee Jr., though, 2 pass breakups, and then Darrell Baker dropping an interception. From what I read, it was right in the hands from Cam Ward. Cam Ward, not solid at practice. I think it was 1 for 5 in the red zone from what I read. Overall, 2 for 7 in the preseason, but I'm still pissed off about that Van Jefferson drop, man. You got to catch the ball. But overall, talking about the cornerbacks, I hope L'Jarius Sneed is okay, but we still have not gotten any updates. We don't know when he's going to be playing. We don't know if he's going to be ready week 1. Starting to get concerned. I'm really starting to be concerned about if he is going to be on the field at some point because you gave him a ton of money, like over $70 million. He's played around 4 games, not been productive, and he got his knee scoped during the offseason that we didn't hear about until training camp started. It's just been a disaster at this point, and I'm really starting to get concerned. I'll ask you guys, though, because my level of concern is at an 8. I'm not going all the way up to a DEFCON 5 or whatever you want to call it. But scale it down in the comments for me, 1 through 10. 1 being, nah, he's fine. 10 being, oh, this is a disaster. I'm at an 8 at this point. Absolutely at an 8. Overall, though, like my final thoughts, I love the fight between Cam Ward and Jeffery Simmons. I want to see teammates go at it. I don't want to see them fight, but you see the passion. The team has true passion. Brian Callahan, you're fighting for your life out here. The offense still needs a lot of work going into the season, though. I wouldn't say they're a perfect team. Like, I'll just go back to this picture. Like, Simmons and Ward, they're going to be fine. Don't make anything out of this. The media will probably spin some BS around it. They're okay. They're going to be fine. But overall, the team needs some work. I see about a 6-7 win team with this. I see Cam Ward getting better as the season goes on, but overall, it's a work in progress. The offense doesn't look too good. I mean, you got to win on Friday, and that's all that matters. You get better. But Brian Callahan coaching for his job out here. And you're going to see week 1 against the Denver Broncos if this team is truly for real because they're a good team, or if they're going to be not a contender going into next season. That's going to do it for the latest edition of Titans Today by Chat Sports. Don't forget to hit that sub button. We got you covered all throughout the week with everything Titans. And as always, tighten up.